afternoon, this is John with the Pine Tree. I have the great pleasure of being here with Sarah Lunsford. And Sarah is a local media veteran who has decided to jump into the fray on the other side, right?
That's right. Number 4 candidate for District 4.
Yeah.
No less. Yeah.
So we're going to do a little bit of those who, what, when, where, and why cases. So, Sarah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Who, what, when, and why?
Yeah.
Yes, like many people, I'm a Bay Area transplant. I came from Fremont originally, graduated from UC Berkeley, and studied in Cambridge for a little while as well, Cambridge University in England, and came to the county 11 years ago, started to work as a print journalist, covering primarily Board of Supervisors and Angels Camp City Council at that time. So if you actually put all my years of sitting in the Board of Supervisors together, it would be almost a full term, 3.5 years almost.
So you had an assigned seat there, kind of?
And also in between there, I was the field representative for Calaveras County for Tim Leslie, so Tim Leslie, and covered Hamilton County for him. And I moved on to work for Tim Cogdill, who's now Senate Minority Leader, which is a very cool thing. And worked for him as a field rep out here for Calaveras County and parts of Tuolumne County as well. And the reason why I decided to run for office is I've been sitting and watching things for 11 years. And I think the county is at a tipping point right now. We've either got to get the growth, both economic and developmental growth, managed and under control, or else we will end up in a situation where we don't want it.
And that's not going to be an easy path, is it?
No, I don't. It isn't an easy path, but you have a general plan that's being rewritten right now, and at optimistically 2 years out, and more realistically maybe 4 years out. So basically you have an antiquated general plan actually providing governing the growth for the county. And I think what we need to do is we really need to sit down and look at where we want growth and what we need actually in the general plan as well. I'm very adamant about putting an agricultural element in the general plan and also a water element, so that those two very important parts of keeping our county growing healthily are actually in place. I think one of the things that some people miss is that agriculture actually provides the open spaces for our county. And unless you protect the agriculture, you end up with a county that's just pretty much rooftops. So, there's a lot of ways you can do that. You can do conservation banks through the state. You can help agriculture sustain itself, and I think that's what we need to do instead of building rooftops on it. At the same time, we have to protect our residential neighborhoods and sort of the interface areas between the residential areas and agriculture.
And a lot of that comes down to infrastructure.
It does.
Some of that.
It does. I think what we need to do is build in concentrated areas where the infrastructure is already existing. And a lot of it is going to be infill development. And I think it has to be, or else we end up with rural sprawl where everybody's on 5 and 10 acre parcels.
Now, do you see a lot of a future for, I guess, what's become known as like the agritourism type of thing?
I think there's a huge future for it here. As long as the county, there's a lot of disparate entities in the county. Like we have over 12 special districts for water. And we only have 42,000 people in the county, and most cities are larger than us and have one water district. So I think what we need to do is we need to start to really come together with the different entities coming together and really communicating very well, which is not usually seen in the governmental entities. I mean, let's be honest.
But people have been chatting pretty well lately.
Yes, they have, which is really good.
It seems like everything's...
I mean, who would have thought Angel City Council and this Board of Supervisors would ever have gotten together?
I mean, they're holding hands, singing Kumbaya.
That's right.
Nice,
which is a good start. But I think really all the discussions need to come up with a workable plan, and then everybody needs to fall in line with the plan. But agritourism is actually, it's one of those economic realities that we have already here
with the
wine industry, especially on Highway 4. But I also think there's a lot of commercially zoned areas across from the airport, where the old airport used to be. Over here in Frog Jump Plaza, there were 3 phases to that initially. And actually, I think there's some down in Valley Springs as well,
Right.
where you could actually set up as a local entity a business enterprise zone where you provide tax incentives for businesses, small businesses, 25 to 50 people, to come up to the area. And I think it's important for the Board of Supervisors to really partner well with the Chamber of Commerce to do a marketing plan to actually get out there into Silicon Valley, into San Francisco, into
Right.
these areas where these
Right.
small companies may want to move up here. The housing is still less. I mean, the cost of living is a little higher, let's face it, but the housing is less, and that's a major component in your cost of living.
Right.
And they could move up here and do quite well.
And I think there's becoming the realization as well, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, is that when we have an economic downturn like we
Yes.
have now, and real estate takes I mean, we have to broaden our jobs base beyond
Absolutely.
the trades, so to speak. I mean, even though those are a valuable component.
Oh,
and we
they're
wanna-
a very valuable
Yeah.
component, but for a really healthy economy, you can't rely on two components.
Right.
Tourism
Right.
and actually, building
Yeah.
rooftops. And also when you bring in those types of other business enterprises, you also have the opportunity to bring in more education opportunities, higher education opportunities for, our young people.
Right.
You have a higher population level, which the population is going to grow anyway, but you have
Yeah.
a higher population level that then stimulates all these other sort of retail as well. But I think really retail needs to come into the county now, and I think it needs to be managed efficiently, and it needs to be put into areas where it's not going to really affect a lot of different aspects.
So
of
you're not
Calaveras
promoting a
County.
Walmart on every corner?
Not on every corner,
Okay.
no.
All right.
And I'm not saying Walmart per se, but I think we need
Just joking.
something,
Yeah.
where the people in this county can shop.
Right.
Because I mean, what is it? Approximately $41,000 a year is the median income for a family of four.
Yeah.
And that's with both adults working. And they shouldn't have to go out of the county to buy necessities.
The old pants analogy that you
The
keep-
pants analogy, the underwear analogy,
And it's worse for men, because women can at least boutique shop a little bit.
if they can afford it, but the boutique shops
That's true.
really are not geared. They're geared towards tourists, so I don't think there's going to be a real competition between the boutique shops and retail that's affordable for those who live in the county. And plus, I don't think that people should have to spend $20 to $30 on a tank of gas to go shopping.
Right.
They could use that
Right.
money for food.
Right.
So I am, for big box retail as long as it's placed correctly, managed well, and I think there's only places where it's managed well. So
Are we standing in
we're standing in one of them. Yeah.
And that was kind of the,
so
we
there
had
you go.
Oaks and 12 acres theirs or 11 acres or anyway. Yeah.
But you have to be able, it's a balancing act. You're going to grow. The county's
Yeah.
going to grow. The projection is what, 80,000 people by 2020?
Something like that.
Something like that. That's the projection. And they need places to live. And there are already quite a few entitled lots in the they're already through the process and they're going to be built out.
Right.
So, and apparently there's not enough entitled lots to actually count the population that's going to move up
There's
here.
still not.
There's still not, is my understanding. So we've got to take care of business, provide the infrastructure, get a plan into place where we manage it, but we still need to protect our agricultural element and make sure that everybody has enough water as well.
So the idea is, so the character of the county stays consistent
Absolutely.
as we grow.
Absolutely.
I guess that's probably as good a way to put it.
Exactly. I think we can do that, but I think we're at one of the last moments where we can do that.
Yeah.
Because we're at an economic downturn, and even though it's a negative thing, it's actually protecting Calaveras County from just exploding too quickly.
Right.
You have to look at sort of the silver lining.
Well, I think there is one, because I think it is, everybody's talking.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I think even people who have, I think there's room now for agreement on long-term goals without even you differ a little bit on,
your philosophies.
Right.
So I think really what you need is you need a strong board of supervisors, a strong city council, and people who are willing to work together. Put the egos aside, put all that aside. It doesn't matter whose name is out in the paper. It's
Right.
what is getting done for the people of the county. So it's
Okay.
the most important thing.
So I guess in summary, what's a Sarah Lunsford supervisorial run? I mean, what does it look like? What would you like to what would you like to? I didn't phrase that well.
No. What would it look like? You know what it would look
people
like?
expect?
Well,
what would you like to get done?
I'm somebody who's a facilitator.
Mhm.
I really don't mind if my name is out in the paper or not. I mean, a lot of people, I've written for publications for
Right.
years, and a lot of
Right.
people still go, "Who are you?" You know, and
Yeah.
that's been done because I believe that education, either through articles or even behind the scenes, is more important than the personality and getting out there. And
Yeah.
I think that's really what I bring to the table. I observe things from a lot of different angles, and that comes from my journalistic background. My experience with the assemblyman actually gave me a very firm grip on how rural counties are viewed on a statewide level.
Is it the ugly stepchild, or is it?
We are the red-headed ugly stepchild.
The red-headed
Absolutely.
ugly stepchild. Ah, okay.
Absolutely. And I think because of that, we have to come together and we have to communicate more effectively.
You just lost the red-headed vote.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But, I think we really need to come together and communicate and plan the county the way that we want to. And I think one of the good things about rural counties is you have independent-minded people
Yeah.
who want to keep their county the way it is. And I think I could act as a really good facilitator in that regard. Protecting the agriculture as well as growing sort of the economic and rooftop base in the areas where they belong. Because I'm not afraid to say no.
Yeah. Isn't there, and I guess one of the things from spending time around Sarah is she really likes policy.
Yes, I do. I love policy law.
Yeah, one of the things is she likes the intricacies
of policy. Yes,
So,
yes. I will actually read every word of the legislative edicts and the laws that come out. I want to know people. So, this type of thing is just, it's hands-on, just getting in there.
So were you in school listening to people through paper, threw stuff at you?
No.
That just,
I was quiet, I was behind the
All right.
scenes, like I have been in this county for the last 11 years. But I step forward now because this is the time for me to step forward and we need to catch this correctly. We need to get an economic not for private development. We need to get them on the plate.
Right.
And this is the time to do it. We have a really unique opportunity here, and I think that the Board of Supervisors should be spearheading that opportunity.
All right.
So,
Thank you for joining us on camera here.
And thank you for watching.
And
Thank you.
this should be fun. So how many days are we out from the June?
Oh, I don't count it in days. I just go, it's still April. So, June is coming. Yeah.
June is coming, so go register to vote.
That's right. And actually, I want to also add, it doesn't matter, to me, and this sounds really weird from a candidate, but I think it doesn't matter who you vote for in this election, as long as that candidate takes the ideas of the other candidates